Like, oh yeah, no, I don't do that either.
Yeah, we'll skip that combo.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 71 of the Fantasy Timeline, a proud member of the Dynasty Addicts Podcast Network. I'm Josh at Real Fantasy TL. I'm with my main man, Bill at Super Dupaflex. Bill, how you doing, man?
Dude, I am ready to go. Happy that our boy Shane is joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, my man. And yeah, and I'm happy to be here with you too, Josh. And it's St. Patty's Day.
It is.
Cheers.
So for Happy Irish People Day.
Aaron go brah.
That's right.
Look at this. It's like you guys are talking another language. So, if you're watching, you obviously can see the very attractive man. And I say that about everyone, but I really mean it for Shane. Very attractive man that we have with us. And he's also pretty smart. So, Shane, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. I mean, I'd feel better if you didn't call everyone that came on the show really handsome because it doesn't really mean much now.
But I put the disclaimer. I put the disclaimer.
I know, but it's still out there where you're telling everyone they're good looking. So it's kind of like, I'm the smartest stupid kid.
Yeah, but it's kind of, I want to build people's confidence. You don't need your confidence built, Shane. You have enough of that as it is. So
yeah, there's that. That's true.
So I mean it when I say it to you.
I got you. Yeah, I'm ready to this exciting fantasy football free agency frenzy that's going on here.
Yeah, and Shane, we're gonna hit the news, and trust me, every other podcast you've listened to has hit every free agency bullet point. So we're just gonna hit the highlights and then move on. Everyone signs with New England. That's the first bullet point. If there was a free agent and you have not been watching or listening to anything the past couple of days, they probably signed in New England.
Every mediocre player signed with New England.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. I don't think Judon is mediocre. I think he's pretty good. I mean,
fantasy football.
We don't care about him unless you play IDP. And Shane and I are of the same brain that IDP can go somewhere else with that because
it sucks.
I ain't playing it. But
people that like it suck.
Oh, I should probably.
I'm sorry, that was unnecessary.
I need to hit Twitter real quick.
He needs to hit Twitter and apologize to all of our IDP listeners because Bill is diplomatic like that. But yeah, I mean, they signed tight ends, they signed wide receivers, they may even be signing running back soon. I mean, is there anyone for fantasy you care about that signed with New England, Shane?
I did care about Juju Smith for about 12 hours. I guess Aguilar. Aguilar's still kind of interesting. He could put up a wide receiver 3 season, I think.
Yeah, I think if someone else is the quarterback, I think you're right. But
anyone but Cam.
Listen, I think Cam is going to be a fine backup. But I said that in a couple of the chats I'm in, and people came at me like Cam had just won the last 3 Super Bowls. So, I'm going to step off of that for a little bit and let people calm down. But, yeah, I mean, Aguilar was good last year. He had that one really good year in Philly. Shane and I got to watch that live and in living color being in the area. And we'll see what he does in New England. I mean, Kendrick Bourne, that's a big power play right there, the Kendrick Bourne signing.
I'm excited that we get to talk about Kendrick Bourne some more for another 4 years. I'm going to get to hear about how, Kendrick Bourne could be a sneaky play. If I want 10 points, but I'm not trying to lose close. Whatever. No. Kendrick Bourne, very exciting.
I thought you meant for this podcast because literally I was going to end the Kendrick Bourne talk right there. So he got more airtime than I thought he would on this episode.
Nice.
But so everyone signed in New England. And then is there any other free agent moves? I mean, I'm sure you guys both saw that Curtis Samuel just got signed by Washington. I actually like that move. They got McLaurin there. Antonio Gibson is zipping and zapping everywhere. How do you guys feel about that one?
Well, I am most delighted with the quarterback being signed with Washington because that's the most fantasy impact out of everybody. I think Fitzmagic, if he's the starter, like a YOLO quarterback, there's nothing. I mean, that's the best thing. So, I mean, the fact that that's going to help Curtis Samuel, it's going to help everybody. So yeah, I'm happy with that. They're the most excited. I think the difference in what the team was last year to this year, I mean, it's Washington is the greatest difference in my opinion.
What about you, Shane?
I mean, yeah, I like Curtis Samuel. I mean, I like Curtis Samuel enough anyway. He doesn't have to try to be the one there, which is good. I still get nervous that, because he played running back / wide receiver in college. He still scares me anywhere he goes that they're going to go ahead and screw it up and do the same thing with him in the pros. I mean, for largely they haven't. They did a little bit in Carolina last year, but when his time with Ron Rivera already, they didn't really use him like that. So maybe I'm just being scared for scared purposes because I was a little worried for Antonio Gibson, but my patrons over in the Patron Dynasty Trades HQ chat were trying to talk me out of that. Like, don't be scared. So I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to hope that he's not going to hurt Gibson.
Well, and don't be scared because I think that we saw the emergence of Curtis Samuel as CMC was out and on the shelf because they kind of needed somebody to be that gadget guy, that do everything guy. And Curtis Samuel was there and he had that ability. Obviously, if Gibson suffers from an injury, you might see that come into play, but he's going to be injured anyway and not playing. So it's not going to affect Gibson like that. I personally don't think so. I think he's there to be a wide receiver, to give Washington, another weapon not named Terry McLaurin to at least, have the opposing defense not triple team him, every play. And, they may be a team too that drafts another wide receiver in the first 2 days just to kind of add a little bit more firepower to our main man, Fitzmagic there.
I think that, just having those versatile running backs / wide receivers, I mean, you can have both those running backs, line up, spread out wide if necessary and that sort of thing. I think maybe not fantasy wise, but I think just, the potential things they can do with those versatile players, be fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, I guess there is a little bit of concern because of that. If they get creative, but I'm not really sure they've ever been super creative with Ron Rivera. So, I think a worst case is that he'll kind of take more of McKissick's snaps, maybe not even that many. So, I think that's actually a pretty good signing for Gibson, in my opinion, just because I don't think he's going to be somebody that's going to take over a ton of snaps in the backfield.
Nah, I kind of agree with you. I don't think that's going to happen. Any other free agent signings that kind of got you pumped, at least fantasy-wise?
Pumped? Pumped's a strong word. Corey Davis with the Jets could be interesting. I mean, we've never seen Sam Darnold without Gase, have we? Did he ever play without Gase? It doesn't feel like it.
No.
Or if they go Zach Wilson, I'd be kind of interested to see what happens there. Now, I know Corey Davis is never going to be – he shouldn't be the wide receiver one on an NFL roster, so that still leaves room for Mims to grow. But I still think Davis can do really well there. I still think he could put up wide receiver 2 numbers.
Yeah, I think that he's a good wide receiver too. Like I think, the expectation needs to be that he is that's what he is. He's a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. He's maybe just a average to above average wide receiver 2. And, if that's your expectations, I think that's fantastic. And I think that, there is always the chance that he takes up over and plays really well. I mean, so there's always that hope with the situation change and everything like that. So if you're looking for just to have a good wide, or another player that you can plug into your lineup that has upside, he's not a bad guy to add to your roster. So yeah, I buy that. I think the other guys that none of the wide receivers are really signed yet, the big ones yet. So, I mean, Aaron Jones going back, Jamal Williams leaving. I mean, that's interesting. AJ Dillon was a big name for about 10 minutes after Jamal Williams signed elsewhere, or Aaron. The rumors were Aaron Jones was going elsewhere, and I posted a thing today about don't overreact Twitter about fantasy football. Obviously, I'm kidding because everybody's going to overreact about every bit of news, especially this year. I mean, there's just so few things. Like, there's no combine to overreact about, so you got to overreact about every little bit of news right now. And I just say wait a minute before you make any moves, because there's something tomorrow could completely change what your expectations are right now.
So you're telling me that Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry aren't Gronk and Hernandez 2.0?
Man, like, seriously, like
that's what Twitter's been telling me.
The Jonnu thing was just the biggest thing. Like, everybody blew up about Jonnu, and it's like, okay, it's okay. So he's on another team, and Anthony Firkser was like taking targets away from him. Like, so
I mean, I don't know if that's just bad play calling though, because if I had the choice of the two players, I think I would target Smith. But now it doesn't even matter, because he's tied to Hunter Henry.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? Like, everybody got so excited about, and like people are like, oh, he moved up to like tight end 6 or something for Jonnu. Like, I saw that, and it's like, that's a little overreaction. Who knows what else the team is going to do? What else? And then Hunter Henry gets signed there, and all of a sudden it's like, his ceiling just got erased. And so, don't overreact immediately to news. Like, let shit happen. Figure, see the picture, the full picture, and then make those decisions. Like, overreacting, overpaying quickly about a situation. I mean, I don't see a ton of upside with that. So, Shane.
Oh, yeah, I have a question. Oh, no, wait, it's a comment. So last week, I had one of those situations the day Aaron Jones wasn't tendered, or whatever you call it, tagged.
Franchised.
Yeah, there you go. Someone offered me Aaron Jones for Laviska Shenault, and I couldn't hit accept fast enough because I didn't give a shit where he landed. If it was back with Green Bay, he could have landed with the Memphis Monarchs of the USFL Division III league, and I would have taken that trade.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is? I mean, if you're a good player, play that. I mean, we're hearing right now that like DeAndre Swift is dust because Jamal Williams got signed by Detroit, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, trade me your DeAndre. So, like Shane said, he just got an Aaron Jones for Laviska Shenault trade. Cool. Like, I don't have Laviska anywhere, unfortunately. But if I did, and someone was like, "Oh God, take DeAndre Swift. He's not going to be any good," I'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, like I'll do that, no problem." Now, unfortunately, people got caught in the crossfire with Jonnu and AJ Dillon because they made assumptions that was going to be the only thing that happened. And let's remember, as pumped as we've been over the last 2 days, all these guys are moving, signing for big money, and all this. Like, with this salary cap, guys that we don't expect are going to get cut and move around. So there's still a lot more to go, and this is going to be over the next couple of weeks, probably not couple of days. So just remember that as set as you think a team is and a roster is or a position is, it ain't set yet. And then
there's the draft even after that. So like, you don't, like, there's so many different things that are going to change. But it's even like, Gerald Everett signing with Seattle, and people were like, Higbee. Like, everybody in the world knew that Everett was not going to be re-signed with the Rams, and now all of a sudden it's Higbee season. Like,
well, and I think you bring up a good point, Bill. Like, we've already baked this stuff into certain guys' value. Like, we knew Gerald Everett was leaving. We knew either Jamal Williams or Aaron Jones or both of them were going to be leaving. Like, we see a guy leave and we're like, oh my God, we have to either raise a guy to the moon or we have to drop him to the basement. And it's like, but we kind of knew this already.
Not even kind of like let's not be like nice about it. Like you should have fucking known. Like if you didn't know Gerald Everett was leaving, you're fucking stupid. If you didn't know Jamal Williams was leaving, well then you're fucking stupid. If you think Jamal Williams is eviscerating RB1 upside for DeAndre Swift, well you're not fucking that bright. And I want you to make trades with me. And I don't mean to sound like an asshole. I can't help it, but. Look, just you should have thought of these things.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Dynasty, those are things you definitely have to consider.
Yeah, you can't be reactive making moves after moves. You always be chasing. You have to take, and that's why you have to take some risk,
Yeah.
Like, so I don't even fault people that were trading first-round picks for A.J. Dillon. Like, you made a move. Look, it didn't work out this time, but it was the right move because typically running back, well, not lately, but a lot of times,
26-year-old running backs not getting re-signed by the Green Bay Packers.
Right. Well, and they didn't, and then they didn't tag them, and then they just happened to bring them back. So you missed on that move, but the thought process was right at least.
Yep, I agree with that.
And here's the thing with that too. It's also you traded the first for AJ Dillon, and you kind of rolled snake eyes. Like that happens, but now don't turn around and sell him for a second, like the next day, because Aaron Jones got re-signed and whatever. Because guess what? Aaron Jones gets hurt in training camp or in a preseason game or something like that. All of a sudden, you're back on top of AJ Dillon. You already have him, and you didn't trade him away to somebody else for a second, and now they're reaping the benefit. Like this is Dynasty. Sometimes you have to play the long game to a certain point. And it can't be just like super reactionary all the time.
And maybe AJ Dillon gets the 50% snap share that Jamal Williams did. Yeah, and like in the fourth quarter, he's the one getting all the touches because he's the big running back. Who knows?
Jamal Williams had just about 150 plus touches the last 2 years in 14 games. There's no reason to think all of a sudden now they're going to go, Aaron Jones should touch the ball 80% of the time. That's not what he is. And they've shown that that's not what he's going to be. And I've said this before. I don't think we want him to be that because he wouldn't be as efficient. I know A.J. Dillon doesn't really have a history of catching the football, but Jamal Williams had one season in college where he caught a lot of passes, and that was it. And guess what? He was an excellent pass catcher, and the Packers used him a lot for that. So, yeah, no, hold on to your A.J. Dillon. If you're selling now, you're just selling for a loss like a doofus.
Yeah, and that's the point. And, another thing is even if A.J. Dillon stinks out loud catching the ball, I mean, Aaron Jones can do that, and A.J. Dillon is the goal line back or the short yardage back or whatever, and you're still going to make your money that way. So, like Shane said, don't be a doofus. Don't sell them now because you thought you were ahead of everyone else and the Packers had other ideas. Like, chill out for a second, take a deep breath, realize you don't need to sell Aaron Jones for Laviska Shenault. Just don't do it. Just
Scott Connor had a good tweet just earlier about Mixon being the RB50 now that P. Ryan got re-signed with Cincy. He's like, did I do this right? I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then a former guest. Oh God, what the hell happened here?
We're back.
What happened?
That was interesting. I don't know.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, it's just me. Why?
I might have hit a button. I don't know.
Jesus.
It seems like you did. You ended the show.
It's not live anymore.
Yeah.
Former guest Jake Throwbridge said, he's like, oh no, Denver signed Mike Boone. He's like, please anyone don't tweet at me that, Melvin Gordon, is useless now. So I tweeted back at him and I said, Melvin Gordon, and I had the downward little stop sign. I said, am I doing this right? Because, we just get so like Mike Boone signs. Oh God, what's going to happen to Melvin Gordon? Like, let's
nothing. He'll be fine.
Yeah, like let's take the deep breath here, people, and just not every signing means that the guy ahead of him is toast. Like sometimes you got to fill out. Real NFL teams have to fill out a depth chart. They need more than one guy at running back,
because we get so used to 20, 25 man rosters. I think we think that's how NFL teams should be.
Yeah, exactly.
You already have 2 running backs. Why would you even need a third? Like that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, like Jamal Williams got signed. Like that means that
Well, I think it was
Swift's
Bucky.
only going to get 40% of the snaps now.
Yeah, I think it was Bucky Brooks. I was listening to a pod earlier today, and he's like, even if you have 3 running backs for a real NFL team, he's like, you're shorthanded. Like 3 running backs isn't enough.
Those guys get beat up.
So, we're talking about like, oh God, Jamal Williams is gonna, destroy DeAndre Swift, or Mike Boone is gonna do whatever people think he's gonna do to like, listen, they're filling out depth charts, they're trying to figure out what they can get in free agency versus what they can get in the draft, and just everybody take a deep breath. It will be okay. It will be okay. All right, so now that we knocked out the news and we had a little bit of fun with the free agency frenzy that's been going on, let's hit up the timeline and what we saw on the timeline. So here's the first one. Happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're being safe and responsible. But here's a good one from Cheeseburger Fantasy Sports at Chubb's Burger. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Would you eat a burger with a green bun? And I'm assuming he means dyed green and not like has mold on it. But I mean, who knows?
Dyed green? Well, okay. So I'm a 42-year-old bachelor. I will literally eat anything that looks like food. Because that's how it is when you're a 42-year-old man living by yourself.
I'm with you. So Shane says yes. Bill, also a bachelor. Also, are you also eating weird colored buns? Yeah, come on, Bill.
Hamburger buns?
Hey, whatever buns you want to talk about, brother.
No, I'm an Irishman that's anti the green items. I like green beer. To me, is not Irish people don't drink the green beer. They just drink Guinness on St. Patty's Day. So I'm not down for all the green food items with the food coloring. So no, I'm anti that.
You don't like green eggs and ham?
I do not. Sam, I am.
You're a snowflake. You're trying to cancel.
I'm a snowflake.
That's why.
I'm a snowflake.
That was on the timeline. Different timeline,
though. Yeah, why not? A green bun. Let's go.
I'm in the fun police.
Look, has anyone ever died from eating moldy food? Probably. I
think if you eat enough of it, you will die.
No, but look, if you live by yourself and, look, shopping is hard, is what I've learned. And if I'll eat whatever's around. It looks edible. It's getting eaten.
Shane, shopping shouldn't be hard. There's apps for that.
It's a lot of work. I mean, I got to get an assistant.
All right. Well, Shane, I'll send you my resume to become your assistant. I live nearby anyway, so I'll come over and do the app for you and have food delivered to your house so that you're not eating moldy food anymore.
All right. Fancy.
So we got 2 yeses and 1 no. Bill is not eating the green dyed bun.
Bill's too good to eat moldy food. Whatever, Bill.
Whatever, Bill.
Yep.
Way to be snotty. All right. So this one is our boy Rocky, our DAP Network brother, sent this one to us, and it's from Liz Loza. Which free agent signing do you think will bring fantasy managers the most luck? She dropped off Fitzpatrick, helping out McLaurin. Who do you think is going to be the luckiest free agent signing for fantasy?
Can we only go with ones that have actually happened?
You know what? Make one up if you think it'll be fun. Make one up if you want to.
Kenny Golladay to the Eagles. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to really benefit from them signing Golladay and then drafting Jamar Chase. I think that's really going to help.
God, that'll be more than they ever did for Carson Wentz.
Fuck that guy.
How many of those have you traded? How many shares have you traded of Wentz?
Actually, Not many really. I hate him as an NFL football player now, obviously, because I'm from Philadelphia and I'm petty and I'm small minded, and now he's the enemy. But from a fantasy football perspective, I love his opportunity to bounce back. So I'm holding on or buying cheap. I think I traded him in like one league, but I've traded for him in 3 or 4.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with that. I think people just assume that he will never get back to form, and I think in Indy with the O line, the run game, and the couple weapons they have, and maybe they draft another one or two. I think he may be able to at least be good for Superflex. So why not? Hey, a breaking free agent news here. Hollywood Higgins is
Oh my
returning
God.
to the Browns on a 1-year deal. So there you go.
Love that. No, but
Well, there goes DPJ's value.
Oh, you know how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
At least that one makes sense. So yeah, but back to the Liz Loza question that I fucking sidetracked and side-railed and derailed. I'm going to steal hers. Yeah, Fitz from McLaurin. We've never seen McLaurin with a real quarterback. This is going to be incredible. Like I fully expect a wide receiver 1 season out of him.
I'm going to
What
kind
about
of
you,
go along
Bill?
the same lines there. And for Allen Robinson and having Andy Dalton as his quarterback, that's going to be the truly lucky moment for him. It's probably the best quarterback he's had in a decade. So I'm kidding. Like, that's not really it, but it just
but
went
you
along.
were correct in the fact that Andy Dalton is the best quarterback he's had since high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. That makes me sad.
It is
inside
sad.
for him.
Hopefully next year he's able to go somewhere with a good quarterback.
He might not sign that tender there from all indications. He hates Chicago, which who can blame him? What a terrible city.
Well, there goes our Chicago listeners.
I've never even been to Chicago.
There goes all 12 of them.
Yeah. See you guys. It was fun knowing you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's not been a lot of exciting like fantasy. I think that the obvious one is Fitzmagic. Like, there's not been maybe like there's really just not much.
This may be cheating, even though the NFL technically described him as a free agent. Dak Prescott for fantasy purposes.
No, I don't count that
because
technically.
But if that's the case, then yes, that is the luckiest one.
Because
the NFL classified him as a free agent.
Fair enough. It's legit.
Just because let's
better than our options.
That defense stinks out loud, and even if they use all of their picks on defense, they're going to stink out loud next year too.
Wait,
so
didn't they sign Patrick Peterson?
Nah, unfortunately not. That was the Vikings.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Well, never mind then.
He's the new man on the Minnesota Vikings.
He was getting torched this year.
Yeah, I was going to say he's toast anyway.
Yeah.
But whatever. Okay.
So that defense is still going to stink out loud. So Dak is going to have to do kind of what he was doing the first 5 games of the 2020 season and just throw some more. So, yeah, but I like Kenny Golladay to the Eagles, even though it seems like Cincinnati and the Giants are the leaders of the pack in that one. But maybe.
What do you think about that? Like, I would rather see him with the Giants, I think, like fantasy wise.
God,
like,
yes.
Yeah, fantasy wise.
I just think that Daniel Jones is a better match. Like with their, he's probably. Him and Slayton are similar in like what they provide, but I think he's much better than Slayton. But that might just be a biased Detroit view.
No, it's
but
not.
Having those two guys outside and then having oft injured Sterling Shepard inside, where that's probably his best position, that would just be a proper setup for like an offense with wide receivers as opposed to them having 2 slot receivers and then 1 outside guy.
Well, unfortunately, Daniel Jones will still be quarterbacking there.
Yeah.
He's yet to show that he's any good at football. But
yes, that's true.
So I don't know. So he'd have a bad quarterback, right?
But he's good with deep passes, apparently. That's what I hear.
But if
According
he ended
to-
up in Cincinnati, he's got to deal with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. So yeah, send him to New York. He can be the absolute monster on that. And yeah, there you go. If Daniel Jones is a good deep ball passer, there you go.
That'd be pretty amazing offense, though, in Cincy, like skill position wise.
Joe Burrow would be a locked and loaded quarterback one for however long they kept that trio.
Well, and it seems like from at least the Cincinnati sign, it seems like it might be just a 1-year deal, which I think a lot of these top flight wide receivers that haven't been signed yet, your Will Fullers and these guys, I think it's going to end up that a lot of them, Juju, are going to sign 1-year deals because the market just isn't going to be there, and they're going to try to do this all over again next year. Hope they don't get hurt, and because it seems like, I mean, like Nelson Aguilar is leading the pack right now with like 13 mil per year, and the rest of these guys, you hear that they're going to places and they're talking to people, but nobody's flashing that cash. So it'll be very interesting to see where the rest of these guys end up, because, I mean, we're talking about maybe Kenny Golladay in Cincinnati. Like, who knows what can happen if that ends up being, a real thing.
My T. Higgins shares will be very, very sad for a year or two.
That would hurt.
On that list.
Yeah.
But the shares of T. Higgins you don't have yet might be very happy because they can come onto your team.
And I would get a lot of those, yes.
Because
Kenny Galladay's already 36 years old.
When he was drafted, he was 40. Nobody knew that.
Yeah. I mean, he actually played football with, like Moses. So it's
leather helmet.
Yeah. No, they played in the no helmet days.
Yeah. And they didn't use pigskin though, because it was Jewish, so they couldn't play with. They didn't use pigskin. I'm not sure what probably a big rock. It's probably a very, very dangerous game back then.
Yeah,
well, maybe like
everybody getting stoned,
lamb intestine or something. It's probably
a
little bit softer. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, if he gets signed in Cincinnati, pick up all the T. Higgins, because everyone on Twitter is going to say that T. Higgins has died, and he'll never be a good player because Kenny Golladay showed up for one season, and
it already happened.
Football. You guys know that there is absolutely no season beyond this season because it's dynasty football.
Right. Dynasty. So, I don't know if you guys realize dynasty is actually Greek for limited view, and that's how we play the game. Limited view. We're looking at next week. I mean, when Jamar Chase gets drafted by the Eagles, Detroit, there you go. All of a sudden, he's going to be the best player to ever play.
Like, trust me, he's not going to end up with Goff for the rest of his career.
Are you sure?
Well, what's going to happen though is everyone is going to try to sell Hawk for like 2/3 because Jamar Chase has already ascended to being the greatest wide receiver ever.
I hope so.
And you can't possibly support two guys on one team for fantasy purposes. So sell your Hawk. Sell him now. Actually, sell him to me.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Send me an offer. I'll make sure it's fair. I'll give you a second. I'll even give you a second. I'll overpay.
Wow, look at
second and third and premium.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was going to pay 2/3, but Shane is handing out seconds like they're candy. Whew.
Yeah.
That's a big spender right there. So you better get those trades to Shane ASAP. I actually hope this happens where your inbox is just filled with random trade offers.
I often just tweet out like, hey, send me trade offers, because it's much more efficient than actually going into the leagues and doing it quicker, but it doesn't generally work, to be honest with you. But matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to tweet out, please send me trade offers.
That's awesome. I love it.
For anybody, but especially Hawkinson.
Yes.
T. Higgins, sell him now before
there you go. I'll buy T. Higgins now before his market crashes, before his market bottoms out.
And remember, you have to put the blue arrow downward so that people know that you're serious. That's what I do. That's a little pro tip for you, Shane.
All right. I got to find that. That's a fancy.
That is a fancy one. You're doing it from the computer. I don't even know. I do it from my phone. It's easy to find, but
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. If I
we'll
need
figure
to,
it
I'll
out. We'll
just get
move
some
on
clip
while you're
art.
figuring it
Yeah.
out. So this next one here is from Matt Harrison at Explosive Output. Who would you rather have as your one and only fantasy tight end next year? So listen to the choices because it's gonna be fun. And I think this poll actually got put out before Henry signed with the Patriots. So Jonnu, Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz, or Rob Gronkowski. Remember, you're one and only for next year.
And only next year.
Yeah, you're one and only fantasy tight end next year. So after next year, you can buy the rest of these guys for whatever they've depreciated to.
I'm taking Ertz. I think he.
What do you think he ends up, Shane?
I can't see how he doesn't end up in Indianapolis. Like it just seems like too perfect, right? Like that's where he should be.
Well, the rumor mill is that Buffalo is trying to make a full court price on him. Not saying that's where he'll end up, but it seems like they are interested.
I mean, that'd be fine. I mean, I haven't seen what's his face, Josh, big kid. Yeah, I haven't seen him actually target a tight end yet, but he hasn't had a tight end like of Zach Ertz ilk. And I know Zach Ertz was terrible last year. He's also injured most of the year, and he's an emotional guy. He's in his own head. Wherever he ends up, though, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to put up a top 5 tight end season, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, we probably shouldn't have sold him."
Well,
Would
Bill,
you consider him one
go,
of the sleeper buys this offseason?
What happened? Did you call me?
Would you consider Ertz a sleeper buy this offseason?
There's no such thing as sleepers anymore, right? Because there's 487,000 fantasy football websites. There are 3 million Twitter accounts, 14 billion YouTube channels.
What's up? What's up?
Buy low. Can we buy at a discount? Yeah,
that's what I mean.
He's a buy at a discount guy, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sleeper. I probably shouldn't use that word, but
people. Part of the thing with Ertz is people have been wanting his downfall for years now. Ever since Dallas Goedert got there, it's been that's it for Zach Ertz. First year. Oh, well, not so much. All right, that's it for Zach Ertz. Last year, people were fucking happy. Like, oh, it's finally happened. He's toast. He's 29, dude. He's never been a hyper athletic beast. Like that's not really his game. He's going to be fine. Like he's a guy that's going to probably play till he's 33, 34. Jason Witten could be a tight end one until the age of 60. There's no reason Ertz can't do it for a couple more seasons.
That's valid.
So Shane, what would you be willing to pay to get Ertz on your team? You need a tight end. What are you looking to pay for him?
Oh, well, I'm trying to buy low. So the most you're getting is the bottom of the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of thinking, like that mid-late to late second. What about you, Bill? Same?
Yeah, I think my high end would be probably mid-second. That's if I'm really, once things have, the picture's clear, I would be more apt to do something like that. But I think late second is probably at this moment fairish. So maybe throw in a third or something as well. Late third. Then I think that's pretty good.
Like we were talking about earlier, though, if you're going to make a move for him, make a move for him now. Don't wait until he gets tied to Carson Wentz, and then everybody remembers that those two love each other and have a special bond.
Or even he ends up in Buffalo, and they're like, "Oh God, Josh Allen's throwing to him now."
Yeah.
And in tight end premium, people are like, "Well, I need a first to get off of Zach Ertz now," and it's like, "All right, you ain't never getting off of him, but that's cool, But I mean, people pay that. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we're saying it. Somebody's going to show the trade from their league. Oh, I got somebody to pay a first for Zach Ertz after he signed in Buffalo.
Yep, and they'll probably say it's just like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
I'm guessing they're on Voxer. Your league chat must be on Voxer.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I've never used that app, but I've only heard terrible things. So, I mean,
I don't mind it.
It's fine. It's another communication app. I will say their support sucks. So I got a new phone. Well, I got a couple new phones in the span of the last 6 months or whatever, right? But when you get a new phone, you got to download your apps again. You got to sign in, and I can't remember my login for the life of me. I can't remember my password, and I've requested that they reset my email. Send me the email link no less than 14 times, and the email link never comes. I can log in using the alternate name that I have, which is great, except that it's not attached to any of the leagues I'm in, or so that's not real helpful because I'm not smart enough to figure out how I tie that name to the other accounts.
All right. Oh God. So all right, we got one Zach Ertz. Bill, who's your main man? Who's your guy?
Yeah, I'm immediately ruling out Gronk. I would probably be debating between the three guys. If it's just only one player, I would probably also rule out Jonnu because of that. So it'd have to be between Henry and Ertz. If it was at this moment, well, this was pre-Henry signing.
You can't do that. You got to do it now.
Well, the poll went up before Henry signed, but it was still active once he did sign.
So if it was, I knew where Henry was and I didn't know where Ertz is going, which is the case right now, I would probably go with Hunter Henry at this moment. But it would be like 1A, 1B for me. I feel like there's a tier and then there's a pretty big drop to the next two guys.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, this is an interesting one because I actually rule out the Patriots guys. I just think they're going to end up cannibalizing each other, which especially
I just don't think Cam can get the ball further than 20 yards. So I think that really is a positive for the tight ends.
I mean, I agree with that, but I also don't think Cam is going to be the starting quarterback for the Patriots. So
it's going to be Mac Jones, Mitchell Trubisky, Kyle Trask.
I mean, it could be any of those guys.
Kelvin Mond, is that his name?
Yeah,
Kelvin Ellinger. I don't even know if he's out in this draft.
What's the guy? What's the guy there now?
Sam Ellinger's in this draft.
Yeah, how sad is that? Anyway,
that or that he's in the draft.
No, he was a Devy guy I liked a couple of years ago, and he just did not do well. And
Jarrett Stidham going to be the guy.
Jarrett Stidham.
Jarrett Stidham ain't going to be the guy. I mean, I don't know about any of those other names if they end up in New England, but I know.
Do you think they're more likely to start than Stidham?
Mac Jones, yes. The rest.
Any
guys,
of them, like you not knowing if they even end up on the team, are they more likely to start than Stidham?
Shane hit us with a who on Mac Jones.
Who?
I'm just like every other person that's been on a podcast in the last 3 months. Awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bill and I have been doing that.
8004.
But yeah, I mean the contract that Cam signed doesn't lock him into being the starter. So the Patriots have a lot of options. Then
that doesn't affect it either to me, honestly. Like, I think tight ends, I don't know. Like, yeah, I think I'm still probably Hunter Henry, but you're answering, so let me not interrupt you.
Dude, you can interrupt me. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, this is my episode. This is the episode I'm on. So I thought it was just a standard, given that we would be cutting each other off and interrupting each other.
It's kind of what we do anyway.
Bill never.
That's what I do.
Bill
Josh
never interrupts me, and when he does, he's like, "Oh, sorry about it." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't care."
I know he's super gentle about it.
I'm like, "Dude, I don't care." Say your piece, and we can all talk here. It's fine. So I take those two out of it because I think they're going to cannibalize each other, and especially at tight end. Cool. Maybe Hunter Henry's tight end 11 and Jonnu's tight end 12, or vice versa. Awesome. That's meaningless, So, to me, it's down to Ertz and Gronk. Now, do I think that Gronk and Brady got their stuff together towards the end of last year and maybe he can be that guy? Yeah, but, Cameron Brate was that guy for a couple games too. And, at the beginning of the season, OJ Howard was that guy. Now, I think he's a free agent. I may or may not be correct about that.
I believe it wasn't this year his 5th-year option, 2021.
For who?
Maybe. So either way, whether OJ Howard is coming back or he's not, I mean, Brady, listen, we know that Evans and Godwin are going to get theirs. If Antonio Brown comes back, he's going to have some flash games. So, Ertz ends up in Indy. Whew, that's going to be nice, especially because Indy has weapons. Indy has weapons, but they're kind of unproven. Pittman hasn't broken out yet. Paris Campbell looks good for the 3 games a season he plays, and then he gets hurt. So we haven't seen one of those guys really just be that guy that we can say, oh, man, I don't know about Zach Ertz. And Zach Ertz could come there and be that guy since Carson Wentz has that familiarity and they're friends and they like each other. He could also go to Buffalo, like I was saying, and all the rumors are saying that the Bills are trying to make that full court press on him. And then you have Josh Allen throwing to him. No one's even going to pay attention to him because they still have Stephon Diggs. They have Gabe Davis. They just signed Emmanuel Sanders. They have Cole Beasley. I mean, they got guys out there that you have to, account for. So I'm gonna go with Shane here. I'm gonna say Ertz too, even not knowing where he is, just because. I mean, I love Gronk, the Gronk smash, Gronk parties. Gronk does his thing, but I don't know if I can consistently rely on Gronk he's going to have games. He's going to be, a top 3, top 4 tight end, like 2 or 3 weeks. The problem is I'm not going to be able to predict those weeks. Yep. And I'm probably going to play him on the weeks that he goes like 1 for 12. And I'm going to be pissed about it. So give me Zach Ertz, a guy that I think can have a good game pretty much every game. And just hope that he doesn't, end up somewhere crazy that I won't like his value anymore. But
you guys are probably right. You guys won that answer.
We definitely did. Yeah. Ours were more thought out, more articulate.
Yeah. You guys are. Oh, well, that'll always be the case.
And real quick, Juice is he's signed through 2021, $6.13 million. And the dead cap is exactly the same. So they didn't exercise his, or they did exercise his 5th-year option, and it only becomes guaranteed when you're injured. Jay Howard was injured.
So. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah,
make your money, OJ.
Didn't that happen with what's his name, the quarterback for the Jaguars?
Blake Bortles.
Yeah, didn't that happen with him?
I think they just signed his ass to a bad contract, even though they don't have. I don't know, the Jaguars do a lot of dumb shit, or at least they have in the past. But we forgot to mention that Emmanuel Sanders killed Gabe Davis. Forgot about that. So also trade me. I'll take Gabe Davis from you.
Yes,
a 3rd rounder.
Does he really kill Gabe Davis though? Yes.
According to Twitter, Gabe Davis is
disregard.
Dead and buried. Okay, go on Twitter. Gabe Davis had the 3 days of being like the man. He was going to be the next big thing. And then Emmanuel Sanders came to town and they did that SpongeBob meme where they pull up the sand and then just bury his face in it and I was like, wow, we really love ourselves some Emmanuel Sanders, huh?
Well, also, I don't know if you know this, but actually NFL teams are only allowed to have 2 wide receivers on the field at a time.
That's what I hear.
So the Bills were cheating all of last season?
Well, that's why their offense was so good.
Yeah. Oh, because they did it with 3. That makes sense.
And that's why
Green Bay, 4 sometimes.
And really cheating. And that's why everyone would yell at Green Bay about drafting wide receivers. Why do you need to draft a wide receiver? You only need 2 of them, and one of them's Devontae Adams. You're fine.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
And every wide receiver plays the same position too. So keep that in mind.
Definitely.
Yeah, like people talk about this slot, like that's just a figment of imagination. Like there's no such thing as a slot. It's kind of like Shane's tweet, and I want to go back to this because I love this tweet when I saw it, and I had to bring it up. He said, "I love that theoretical math is now part of the NFL salary cap," which is hilarious because my dad actually took theoretical math in college. so you bringing that up just made me laugh so hard because my dad actually took that in college, and it's so true though, because you can have like 47 cents in salary cap, and then it's like, we just signed a guy to $125 million contract, and it's like, wait a minute, you had 47 cents. How did this work out? But and then they're like, well, we cut a guy, and then
moved salary forward later in the contract.
Yeah, we restructured that money that was guaranteed that
Yeah,
couldn't
like-
be moved, but it could be moved under this time space continuum.
Well,
Who was it that they just signed to a 5-year contract, but the next 4 years are voidable?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill was the 4-year
Yes.
extension
Yeah.
where the years were immediately voided. And I said, well, that's theoretical math. That's literally
that's some bullshit.
That's coming up with the answer to something that doesn't exist. Like that's what they just did, and that's pretty awesome.
I mean, it's incredible what they've done with their salary cap. Like
I am proud of those fuckers. I mean, they were $100 million over the cap at one point. Like people were stressing about the Eagles. Like the Eagles were a pittance compared to them.
Right.
And the Rams haven't been under the cap. You can't convince me they're under the cap.
They're like $100 million over every year.
Last year they went into this. They traded Todd Gurley, took a $25 million cap hit, right? And they were over the cap still. And they were like, "We don't care. We're signing Cooper Kupp." And they're like, "Guess what? We're signing Jalen Ramsey. Guess what? Robert Woods too." And you're just like, I don't know what this cap is, but
and then we're gonna trade our starting quarterback and just take a hit this year.
Yeah.
Well, they cut Clay Matthews that offseason too, which was like another like $12.5 million dead cap hit or something like that. They owed more money in dead cap than they had cap room available. It was like the first time in NFL history that it's ever happened, and it was just but
there's got to be some of that shit's got to be fixed, doesn't it?
Well, apparently I keep hearing this. I follow some insiders in New Orleans, and they have this guy who's apparently a cap genius who figures all this stuff out and gets them cap compliant every year, even though 2 weeks ago they were $120 million over the cap. Now they're cap compliant, and
they dude from Numbers. Remember that show?
Yeah. They offered, Taysom Hill $140 million imaginary dollars.
So it's how the IRS has, if you ever read the IRS tax code, if you were bored, it's been really trimmed down, right? But it used to be massive, and you would be like, oh, well, there's all these rules in place because that's how you keep things in line. You have rules, except when you have that many rules in place, and this is the NFL salary cap, that just gives you more ways to work around it.
100%.
And if it's not explicitly stated that it's illegal, well, you have 87 pages of rules. If it was illegal, I would assume it would be in there.
Yeah.
That's all they do. I mean, and it's not even really rocket science. Most of it is literally they just change guaranteed salary to a signing cap, and then they just sign you to an extra 7 years, and you're only going to play
spread it over those 7 years, take the hit in a future year.
And the cap, unless, of a pandemic, which is the only thing that's ever made the salary cap drop in the last 30 years.
Yep.
It's going to keep going up. I mean, it just is. And it's going to go up because of the ad revenue and the TV revenue. And, it's going to go up by 10 to 15 million every year. You just figure that. So you're spread it out, because in 6 years, you know what I mean? In 4 years, the cap's going to be $70 million more than it is now. So it doesn't matter.
Well, and it's crazy because everyone was saying that Jerry Jones kind of let the cat out of the bag with all the TV deals when he signed Dak Prescott, because apparently now in 5 years, the salary cap's going to jump from 182 million to 250 million. So all these contracts that we're looking at now and going, oh my God, they paid $1 million, $1 billion for this guy. It's not even going to matter in 5 years because the salary cap is going to be so expanded that the contract you sign now that looks insane is going to look normal or below average when we get to $250 million. But I really want to know what the look on Taysom Hill's face was when his agent came to him and said, here's a 4-year contract for $140 million. But you don't ever really see any of this money. We're kind of just playing with you right now.
I mean, so it's just spread out over a couple more years, right? So for a guy like Taysom Hill,
I think he gets $12.5 million out of the deal somehow, but don't ask me how that actually works. But
me as a player, I'd be like, fuck you. Whatever you owe me this year is what you owe me this year, bitch. Because you wouldn't do this if the tables were reversed.
I'm so stubborn.
Go fuck yourself.
That's exactly what I would be saying.
But I also hate the rich, so that those negotiations would probably always end badly if I was in the room with them.
That's why you would have an agent, Shane.
Yeah, you're
That's right.
I guess I would speak to the agent and be like, you know what? No, we're not helping the team in any goddamn way. Fuck those guys.
But I mean, it's kind of like, Brady and Dak signed like similar style contracts. Where like this year, like Dak is only cost like $22 million against the cap, even though he's getting like $75 million of real money. Which I would love someone to sit down and explain this to me one day. But Brady's doing the same thing. He's making like 12.5 million or 13 million or something this year, and it spreads out over 4 years.
But he has so his next year, the 2022, not 2021, but the 2022 season's a real season. He's actually signed.
Yes.
So he'll play on 2021's contract. And if he wants to come back, or even if he doesn't, they can still just renegotiate it again, because that's Drew Brees renegotiated his contract before he retired. Like, what,
Yep.
bitch? We just anything. Like, literally, the salary cap is a fucking joke.
It is a fucking joke.
It's something that's artificially done to keep player salaries down. Like, they make them. There's a number you can't get past. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you can only kick so much shit down the road, and that's what the owners are doing. They're making sure that the players' salaries are artificially depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate the salary cap. It's just a fucking joke.
Well, and it's
and it just shows you what teams are actually intelligent and which teams are just idiots.
Look, I think you could get a guy from H&R Block, and no disrespect to H&R Block, because they did my taxes for years. Shout out. But I think you could get a guy or a woman or other from H&R Block, and they could fucking do the same shit that the GMs do. You don't have to be all that smart. I'm not all that smart, but I could figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that like the Patriots have spent more in this free agency period than they had in the last 10 years combined. And like they've spent like 140 something million and somehow still have cap space. Like it's like, wait, what? Didn't you guys start with like 50 million and you spent 140 million, but you still whatever. I mean,
Jennifer Garner did a good job
explaining the salary cap.
Yeah.
Jennifer
Wasn't she
Garner,
the
Capital One girl?
Oh, you're giving us a draft day reference here?
Draft day reference.
I mean, honestly, I watched that movie just for the giggles because
It's so realistic, dude.
But I wish that I could be in an NFL team's war room and just be like, well, we just traded 3 firsts for this guy, but I think we can get him back for 2 seconds. What do you think, guys? And everyone's like, hey, boss, are you drunk? He's like, no, I just watched draft day. Think we can do it. We're going to trick the league. And everyone in the league is just like, yeah, you got it, bud. But no, I mean, I watch it for the laughs because I mean, it is funny as hell.
Sorry, smart guy. Jeez.
I mean, listen, I played Dynasty fantasy football. I think I know how to run an NFL team.
Yeah, and I played Madden franchise mode, so duh. I played Madden old school franchise mode when I used to have to pick how much the concessions and the parking cost.
Oh,
I remember that.
Talk about some problems, man.
Yeah.
That was the best. Don't make parking too high.
No, people get pissed.
You always had to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
That spot just enough to make a lot of money on. And then
but people didn't get pissed.
Yeah,
see, kids today didn't go through that training. They didn't have that Madden franchise mode with the concessions.
No.
Yeah, they don't know what it is.
They don't want to mess with all that. That sounds like too much time.
They just sim through everything and go and play the games.
Guilty.
Kids these days, and Bill.
Incredible.
Sons of bitches. All right, let's hit this one here from fantasy football chick at Live OC Girl. Ideally, where's the best fit for Juju, either team wise or fantasy wise? She dropped some options here: the Dolphins, the Lions, or the football team. You guys can pick any of those or somewhere else. Where will Juju fit in? Well,
football team's out.
They gone.
I wouldn't mind the Dolphins. But I got a feeling they're going to be drafting fucking jerk-offs, Jamar Chase in the first.
They should trade down, but we'll see what happens.
I'd be ecstatic with that. Look, I want everybody in front of the Eagles. This is what I need.
What pick does the Eagles have?
Six. So I need 4 quarterbacks to go, and then an offensive lineman, and then the Eagles can go, do we want Kyle Pitts or do we want Jamar Chase? Or should we just trade up to 7 as well and draft them both? Because again, fantasy
I can take the Lions pick too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, what I think you should do if Pitts gets drafted to Philly is immediately buy all the Dallas Goedert shares, because in the toilet, that's where they're going to go as soon as Pitts gets drafted.
They will. And people will feel silly because Kyle Pitts is basically a wide receiver.
He's a wide receiver.
He's going to have.
There's actually some NFL scouts that are classifying him as a wide receiver. Like, they're not even classifying him as a tight end. So,
like this guy in the pie in the sky comps you see for him are Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, like, no one's like, I know obviously that's one of the best players of all time, but even like at that level, no one's comping him to the greatest tight ends of all time.
Right.
They're comping him to one of the greatest wide receivers of all time.
And trust me, if he goes to a team like Philly that is devoid of wide receiver options, that boy gonna be a wide receiver. You're gonna see him line up on the outside, and you're gonna see him just beat people up. Like, he's gonna be nice.
I still, Juju with the Raiders, I still think wouldn't be bad. I liked Brian Edwards, but look, we know the hit rate on wide receivers after they crap the bed in their rookie season.
I still love him.
They have Henry Ruggs, but whatever. They have John Brown, but he's 106. I wouldn't mind Juju in Las Vegas, and he seems to fit. Like Juju can play down the field a little more, but he can also play that short routes that Derek Carr would absolutely love him. Like between him and Waller, they might see 300 targets that go a total of 300 yards. It'd be pretty impressive. But Miami would be nice. I want my Miami either.
Juju's one of those guys that I feel he just is. Like, I don't feel like he's ever going to be like a top wide receiver, like, for some reason, like NFL wise. Like, I just feel like he's just one of those guys that'll just, you can plug in. He's going to be pretty solid for you. I'm not sure he's ever going to be the guy that you feel great as your wide receiver 1. I mean, we've been talking about New Orleans. He'd be super interesting there, I think. They don't really have anybody as their wide receiver 2. But the likelihood of him being able to go there, but they're pretty good with the cap, I hear. So maybe they would be able to do something.
They figure it out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. There's some of the teams. I mean, does he go to Tennessee now? I mean, that would be awful for fantasy, I think. But like, he could end up going there, taking place to Corey Davis. So, obviously, I think I would rather him in New Orleans, but I mean, who's to say he doesn't do a better job than Corey Davis does, but he's not a guy I'm super excited about adding on any of my rosters. How about you, Shane?
Oh, I love Juju.
Yeah.
I've been buying Juju for months. As soon as I heard he was going to, basically, we knew he was going to get out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. What are you paying? Like, what kind of range are you paying for him?
It depends. I definitely, if someone wants to give him up for like a mid-first, they can have that mid-first. I know the shine's off him a little bit because he had that really bad year. After AB left, and then last year he was actually very good. It's just that he
was dinged up the whole season, wasn't he?
A little bit, but his air yards were terrible. Like,
yeah,
that's Ben's fault.
Target was like 4 yards.
Yeah, his ADOT
shoulder was just falling off.
God,
I like
Deontay's the guy this year. Just buy all of Deontay because his ADOT's gonna be like 1.2.
You ain't gotta buy him if you already got him, Bill.
Yep, this is true.
Shane stole mine. I was thinking Vegas as well. Bill, I like yours though. It's kind of like a dark horse pick. Like, you don't really hear people talking about like Juju to New Orleans, but that could be real fun. So I'm gonna take Indy. I think he could.
They have a lot of money, don't they?
They got money, and they got a need for more weapons out there. I mean, they have Pittman. Like I said earlier, Paris Campbell is good for like the 3 games a season he plays. They don't really have anything else in the wide receiver core. They don't have anything as far as tight ends, not yet anyway. So, give your new quarterback another weapon. Give him Juju. Have Pittman do his thing. Have Juju out there. I think he could fit in well, and I think he could do some damage for the Colts. So that would be my if I had to pick a spot that's not Vegas.
We're killing Paris Campbell at that point, right? And he's definitely dead. And Michael Pittman too.
I hope not, man.
And Zach Ertz, even though he's not there yet.
He will be there, and then he will die because Juju's there.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor, sell him too, because he's not going to get no touches with Juju just catching everything in sight.
Well, and Marlon Mack coming back.
Well, yeah.
That's actually the one signing that like people didn't freak out about, which I thought was funny because like Marlon Mack before the injury was like good, and I'm not saying like he should take away from JT. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. But like every signing was like, oh, this guy's dead now. And then like Marlon Mack signed, and everyone's like, "Oh, JT's still good. He's all right. Like, don't worry about him." I was like, a rare moment of clarity from Twitter. It's,
maybe because of the injuries, Max coming off of the Achilles, right?
Yeah.
Because if I gotta be honest, if Max fully healthy, I'd be concerned because he's already shown that he's a good running back. Now I know the Colts have never used him in the passing game as much as I would have liked, and he didn't smash the way we had hoped he would, but he's still always been a really good running back. And he's definitely a guy that, look, you're not going to take JT off the field too much, but you'd feel comfortable with Mac out there if you're the Colts.
Yeah. I mean, if Mac is healthy and he gets back to what he was and JT goes down, I mean, you slide Marlon Mack in there, and I think you are quite fine with the results that you'll get from him. But yeah, that was like the one kind of moment where Twitter came together and was like, we don't have anything to worry about, guys.
Largely ignored. Yeah.
JT will be fine. Even like some people were freaking out when Carlos Hyde got signed by Jacksonville. And I was like, listen, Carlos Hyde is all right. He's like a good guy to have on your NFL team. But like, and Bill knows this. Bill knows that I've been worried about Jacksonville building up the running back room and diminishing what James Robinson did last year. But even I was like, guys, it's Carlos Hyde. Like, let's chill out. Let's not worry about Carlos. Now, if they draft,
like our conversation is truly a bunch of guys who have played Dynasty for a fair amount of time. Yeah. Like we're very aware of like, I mean, it's almost comical how you just see the wind blow this way and everybody's opinion goes that way, or, when there's a signing. And we played long enough to know that most of these signings have a lot less effect on, the incumbents, especially if they're, higher notch players or higher notch performers. Just over time, we might be wrong, here and there, but it's at a way lower clip than if you're just going every way the wind blows.
Well, and it's funny too. So I'll tell you guys quickly about a trade I made in a 14-team Superflex. So I traded the 209. This was maybe.
It already sounds like a terrible trade.
Over the weekend, I traded the 209 for Damian Harris on a team where
that's awful.
I don't have running backs at all, and people are like, "Dude, they're going to sign Leonard Fournette and they're going to sign Chris Carson," and I'm like, I mean, maybe they sign one of those guys, but like we're already predicted. We predicted Aaron Jones in Miami. We predicted Hunter Henry anywhere else that Jonnu Smith wasn't going to be. Like, you can have the 23rd best rookie, and maybe that guy hits. Maybe you're smarter than the room. But most likely, like, the 23rd best rookie is, going to maybe be Damian Harris. Like, at least I have a guy that could possibly be the RB1 in New England. I'll take the risk there.
It's a low risk move. I mean, there's a move that, look, that's not all I live and die on. I usually swing for the fences on the fucking move. But little moves like that, look, it's got it's got good risk reward. There's no risk. 209, the hit rate on it, and I'm going to make up a number, is probably like 14%.
Yeah,
Well, you know what about that number?
13.6.
Yeah, it's not off that. It's pretty low. So yeah, that's fine. And Harris, yeah, Bill hasn't used him yet as a receiver, which is frustrating as shit. But he looked really good last year when he got some run.
And James White is out of town.
Gone.
You know, so
Sony Michelle's still there.
yeah, because we know he catches a ton of passes.
Yeah.
Listen, you know, if you're a Sony guy, I mean, you can probably tell me some things that I might, you know, give you a thumbs up for, but pass catching ain't going to be one of those things. So, and look, I mean, maybe Fournette does sign there, maybe Carson signs there, and you know he's rendered useless, but it's the 209. Like, I'm not worried about it. Good luck, have at it. You know, maybe you find the next, you know, Tyreek Hill with that pick, a guy who gets, you know, drafted much later that ends up blowing up. But most likely next year, that guy at 209, I'll be able to buy off of you for a third or a fourth because he didn't do anything and you don't believe in him anymore. So,
Brian Edwards.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, sometimes just
Exactly.
yeah. So let's see, we got one more here.
Yeah, we can knock that out real quick. You got a minute, Shane? You okay?
Of course.
Oh man,
Shane's always got time for us. So this is from J Money at J Money.
I do love you.
Oh, not for J Money. Fuck that guy.
All right, guys. So thank you for
yeah, thanks for the
It's been
show,
awesome.
Shane.
So he's got a Superflex Dynasty full PPR 12 team. Kamara or the 103 and a 22 first. Shane, who you got?
It's Superflex, right?
It is Superflex.
The value is on the pick side. And I love Kamara because he's fucking Alvin Kamara. But the 21-103, obviously, if you don't need a quarterback, it's a little sketch making that move. But me being me, I'd probably end up trading that 103 for multiple picks anyway. I'll take the 107 in this draft and another first. And then basically Kamara's became 3 firsts. So I'll take the picks.
Bill?
Yeah, that's where I am too. I mean, it's just tough seeing Kamara being Kamara in 2022. Like, I mean, you know, where's the team going to be? Where's the offense going to be? There's just some moving parts that I'm not super comfortable with moving forward. And, you know, he'll be 26 at that point. Like, you know, that's typically when you start to see guys start to decline. Also, the value of running backs at that age declines as well. So I think this is the last offseason that you can move him for a premium price. So, you know, you might have to take a hit in performance this year with whatever you take, but I think that the picks are the side, especially if that 103 is the pick for the team. You know, the 22 first is the same from the same team. And, you know, even they're getting Kamara, I mean, I just roll the dice and hope for the best, but yeah, I think that's the way to go for sure. And I've done that this offseason. So,
yeah, I'm with you guys, and actually, I may try to rework this deal a little bit, and you guys can tell me if I've lost my mind. But actually, you know, shameless plug for Shane. Watch the latest Dynasty and Chill with Scott Connor, and he mentioned that the 23 draft is actually going to be kind of lit, as the kids would say.
AF.
So that's what I'm hearing from Scott, who is way smarter than I am.
He's a smart fella.
So I'm going to trust him more than I would ever trust myself.
Or your host.
Yeah, that's true. I trust Shane, though. I trust Shane a lot.
I gotta be honest with you. Sight unseen, Scott says the 2023 class is good. I'm like, all right, 2023 class is going to be really good then. Now, I do know 2 of the names in it are Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson, and that's
good.
Okay,
that's real.
I don't even know what that means, but cool.
No,
those are probably the only 2 guys from the 23 draft that I know, but I also know that's really good.
Well, there's so many things that are going to move between now and then too, and there's going to be a hype of different players.
Of course, but I would almost try to rework this deal. Give me that 103, give me a 23 first, especially if it, obviously this guy can hype his team up to, whatever by 23. But as much as we say that, usually guys don't make the quick turnaround. And, maybe get a 22 second or 22 third and kind of capitalize on that would be a way I would try to rework it. But hey, if they're not budging and they're saying this is what the deal is, I'm still taking that deal. The 103 is probably going to be Zach Wilson or Justin Fields in your rookie draft, most likely in a super flex. And I would be quite fine with either one of those quarterbacks on my roster. So yeah, take that. Or like Shane said, trade the 103 for the, 107 and the 110 or the 107 and a future first. And
yeah, because if you don't need a quarterback, I mean, it's a pretty good draft.
The tier draft is the cut is like 107, right? Like that's kind of the magic number for a lot of people.
Etienne, you can get Etienne at 108 still in a lot of those leagues, but Etienne or Kyle Pitts. But even like Rondell Moore, guys like that,
that's 9, 10. Yeah, because you got Bateman in there, right? So I mean, there's a lot of guys. Like I feel like when I look at it, like I have 3 of the top 11 in a league, and I feel like there's going to be a good guy falling to me at 11. Like, so.
Yeah,
but I haven't done enough research either for me to. So maybe I'm just like convincing myself.
No, I've done a few Superflex drafts, mock drafts, and honestly, I once I dug into those a little more, I was like, oh, I really like this class a lot. Because at one point, I was like, this class is a little hyped for me, but
yeah.
Going through the Superflex drafts, I'm like, holy shit! Now this is a really good class. Like, there's going to be 4-5 quarterbacks in the first round that are going to push everything down. You got 2 stud running backs. You got Javonte Williams, who some people think could be a stud.
Yep.
You got the unicorn that's Kyle Pitts. You got Pat Freiermuth, obviously Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith. So it's a nice little class.
So Shane, let me pick your brain real quick on the way out. The mocks that you're doing, the rookie mocks that you're doing, is Mac Jones consistently taken in the first round?
Yes, right around 109, between 109 and 112, because that's when everyone starts to get to the I don't like this guy, but it's a super flex draft.
Yeah.
And you get we didn't like Josh Allen either, and this is where we drafted him. We didn't like Daniel Jones. That kind of worked out. We didn't really love Justin Herbert, and we let him fall to like 106, 107. I'm probably going to be wrong about this guy too, because he's going to be a starter in the NFL. So I got to get him. I know I'd rather
that's the thing,
Kyle Pitts, but I'm taking him.
I almost want to go this is the off season I've done the least like effort into looking at the rookies, and I almost wonder how much I can fake it by just basing it off, like making my decisions based off of draft capital. And like point being, like quarterbacks drafted in the first round, those guys automatically get picked. You know what I mean? Like rather than letting my bias of like what the dynasty community tells me or the draft nicks tell me, like, can I fake it this year and just go based off of draft capital for like the positions and make those, just positionally make those decisions. And, so I'm kind of debating on how much I just want to try to fake it this year and see what happens.
Well, I was going to say something inappropriate.
No.
Do it.
Well,
I mean, there's women that have faked it for years. And
yeah,
it seems to
trust
work out
me.
for them. Although, does it really? Should they really? They shouldn't. They shouldn't. They should just tell their partner.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, do better.
Anyway, yeah.
It's to their detriment.
It is.
Absolutely. That's why free open communication.
Yes.
Everybody should learn from that.
5 of the 12 picks are going to be quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That helps a lot, right?
Right. And then just base it off like you said, you have the 2 running backs, you have probably 4 receivers, 2 tight ends.
Even if you went 1 tight end, 3 running backs.
The 3 running backs. Yeah.
Right. And then a couple of receivers. Yeah. I mean, even if you went off just, all right, well, this guy was drafted in the first. Now I know that wouldn't have worked great for you last year if you went with Ruggs first.
Yeah, Ruggs or Rager even.
Yeah, but every other wide receiver you would have been feeling okay about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shane kind of knocked it. I mean, you're going to have 5 quarterbacks go in the first. You're going to have.
Well, and the thing is, there's going to be leagues that doesn't happen. So you're going to end up getting you're going to luck box into a late quarterback, like in certain leagues. Like you might even be able to get them in 201 or something like that, because people always let that. People just don't always draft quarterbacks. Like,
I mean, that's Josh Allen fell in most of the drafts I was in.
Yep.
I got him in 112 in most of in the leagues I was in. And guess what? He wasn't even my first rookie pick, because with my first rookie pick, I'm like, I'm drafting that fucking guy.
Right.
But at 112, I was like, I have to draft this guy. I don't have a choice. He's a goddamn quarterback. This is super flex. Worked great for him. Not so well for Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? We're still waiting on that. And it worked for Justin Hebert.
Yeah. I mean, and I was strictly speaking of actual NFL draft. Like 5 QBs are going to go in the first round.
Sure.
You're
but that's
still
going to be that should be the case in
you're going to
fantasy.
get, there's 3 receivers I can think of off the top of my head that are going in the first round.
Who's the third, just to help me out?
Waddle,
Okay.
Smith, Waddle, Chase, Pitts is going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
So right there, we knocked out 9 guys that, like,
and then you have the top 3 running backs, which they're going to go in the first round of fantasy just because they're running backs.
Right, exactly. So, we knocked out the first round pretty much. Now, like you said, a guy like Mac Jones could end up 201, 202, 203, something like that. Who? But
so you're saying, okay, so, and this is just me being ignorant to the class right now, but we have 5 quarterbacks. So that's Lawrence, Fields, the dude from BYU. Wilson. Jones is the guy from Alabama.
Yep.
And then Trey Lance.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But Mac Jones is the 5th overall, and like if you were going to average everybody's rankings, he's probably number 5.
Yeah, like if I had to bet money who was going to go 5th in the actual NFL draft, my money would be on Mac Jones.
Who?
Obviously, we've seen the draft go crazy. I mean, nobody thought that CeeDee Lamb was going to be there for Dallas at 17. That happened.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were surprised that Rager went ahead of Jefferson. In NFL
but
draft.
Those guys were kind of like in a tier, right? Like it was just a matter of like preference and that sort of thing. So like I don't really worry about like if a guy was drafted 3 spots before another guy, because I feel like that's just preference for a team and how it fits their scheme kind of thing.
I'm thinking about it more like if you bet this kind of stuff in Vegas, the odds probably would have been that Justin Jefferson would have went ahead of Rager.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I don't think people were really. I mean, I was one of those people that thought Justin Jefferson was way better than Rager. But I mean, I also don't think that I was like in a very vocal majority. I think people thought that they were in a similar tier, like you said.
Oh, no. Everybody, don't you pay attention? Everybody knew Justin Jefferson was going to be the wide receiver 1 out of that class last year. Everyone knew that now. That's why he went 101 in rookie drafts. That's why it's 80.
Exactly.
Wait, no, it wasn't.
I was going CeeDee Lamb all day, every day. Like that was my where my brain was. And Jefferson was like in that 2 or 3 spot for me, but I had Lamb like a tier above everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't regret that still. So
no, because you know what? I love the NFL draft, so I kind of follow all of the draft guys on Twitter and the insiders and stuff.
Oh, good. Then I'm not doing shit this offseason.
Dude, I got you. Cool. Leading up to the draft, people were saying that like Vegas was in love with Ruggs. So the fact that he went first wasn't a huge surprise in NFL draft circles because
they were big on like Darius Hayward-Bay. They just love those speed receivers.
Hey guys, listen, you run a 4.2 something,
which it's been proven that it doesn't matter if you run a 4.24 or you run a 4.44. They're still fast enough.
Listen, like, I don't run the scouting department in Vegas.
I'm just saying, like it's
because
been proven.
If I did, CeeDee Lamb would be in Vegas right now, not Henry Ruggs. But that's another story for another day.
Then you'd end up with Justin Jefferson.
They didn't have a pick down there, but I would have traded up. I would have done the trade. It would have said, "Hey, do the trade up for."
Oh, Jefferson was picked before him.
After, but they didn't have another pick in that round, so they were at 12. But I mean. So, really, I mean, we kind of just knocked out the first round of a rookie draft based on if, just the guys that are going to be taken in the first round of the actual NFL draft. Obviously, things are going to, switch up. Someone is going to love, a Rondell Moore who maybe goes high second, and they put him in the first round of your rookie draft. But I don't think your idea of like using draft capital to kind of map out how the first round of your rookie draft is going to go is like a terrible idea, because a lot of those first round actual NFL draft names are going to be in the first round of your rookie drafts as well. So yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Cool.
So
I
on that
agree.
note, yeah. Listen, if I can get Shane to agree with me, I know I've done well. So Shane, appreciate you for coming on, man.
Love coming on.
Dude,
Hey.
Listen, I was gonna roll right by it, but Bill had to stop and look.
Hey, you guys gonna hit up the fantasy football conference thing?
Expo? Yes.
Yeah, maybe you guys can meet up then.
Listen, I'll probably drive to Shane's house and just pick him up, and we'll roll. We're like 20 minutes away from each other.
Everybody else has already like planned this out. Like they're like, "Oh, I booked a flight and a room." I'm just like, it's in August. I got plenty of time. I'll show up.
Somebody will have a bed for me.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
I'll DM Shane. We'll just get
Shane's like the cuddly person that nobody will mind spooning with for a weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll spoon with Shane. Who cares?
There you go.
Yeah, I'll DM Shane. I'll be like, Shane, let's just
You
get this Airbnb for like $12 a night. That's probably in like
fine.
It's got one heart-shaped bed.
That's whatever. Yeah. I don't care. I'm not scared. I eat moldy food.
Yeah.
I ain't scared of shit.
Remember, we ain't afraid of green buns, all right? No. We are not scared. We'll be fine. So here you go. Our boy Justin at Run DFF. The murder houses are always available.
They are.
Listen, Shane and I will get a murder house, and we'll just enjoy. We'll just enjoy ourselves. I'll swing through Shane's neighborhood, pick him up. We'll be in Canton in no time.
Apparently, it's only like 4 hours away.
Yeah, it's not a long drive. We got
it's not, dude. Nah, it's nothing.
We got this. We stop once for gas, and we're there. So,
well, I smoke, so we'll probably stop like 3 times. Yeah, no, I get your point.
I mean, you can smoke in my car. I'm not like,
and fucking weed.
Oh my god,
fuck
you guys
that.
are like besties now.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah,
dude, we'll swing by and pick you up, Bill.
Yeah, come up to Detroit, get me.
Yeah,
sweet.
We're going to a murder house. We might as well go to Murderville.
That's right. Let's do this shit. Yeah, let's do it right.
Right. All right. So on that note, Shane, appreciate you coming on, man. An hour and a half. It is a pleasure to have you for that amount of time. You are everywhere, so just plug some of the stuff you're doing, because if you plug everything, it'll probably be another hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Dynasty Trades HQ podcast. Once a week. I ain't even gonna tell you what day because we don't fucking know. It's between Tuesday and Friday, sometimes Saturday it will come out. I do Mannequin Chill on the YouTubes for DLF with our buddy Scott. I also do a podcast that we haven't even come up with a name for on Tuesday nights for Join Our Circle. Myself, Jacob, and Chase. And that's it. And then I write for DLF. That's it. Yeah, we had a draft guide come out. If you don't already know, so if
I was going to say something.
If you don't
go subscribe and then explicitly state to them the reason we did this is because I wanted to get this freaking guide because it was awesome.
Yeah. So that is actually something I'm hoping to do tomorrow during my lunch break is start pouring through that draft guide because a lot of smart people, including Shane, put in a lot of work on that, and I have a feeling that I will probably learn lots of things. So I'm going to be there for that. So Shane, again, appreciate you, appreciate the chat, appreciate you watching on YouTube, appreciate you if you're listening in podcast form. Remember wherever you are to rate, subscribe, and like us, do all that stuff so that more people can see us. Yeah, I'm not even like reading off the spiel that I usually write out because
thanks for listening. Rate, review.
Yeah, we hit the high notes. So on that note, Bill, we are out of here.
Late.